Welcome to the Big and Tall Show, a podcast that is designed to help you in your faith and encourage you to stand big and tall as a Christian. In this sinful world, the Christian life can be difficult, but Mark, who is big, and Tom, who is tall, are here to help you navigate your Christian journey. And now, get ready to experience the wit and wisdom of Tom and Mark as you listen to the Big and Tall podcast.
Thank you so much, Jay, and welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Big and Tall Show podcast. And as always, we are so thankful to have all of you listening and spending time in your day with us. And we're as always, we're very, very hopeful that this is a beneficial thing for you and your family. And we're just thrilled to have you listening and joining in with us. Mark, how are you today?
Good morning, Tom. I say good morning. I don't know when everybody's listening, but we're recording this in the morning as we start our day. And we are, as you said, we're glad that everybody's here and everybody's tuning in. And we got several things to talk about, Tom. We had a big weekend at Challenge Youth Conference, and last week we sort of said that we were going, and we did, and it was a great weekend. And I think I want to start there to begin with. We were talking about the speakers and the everything that they do at CYC, but our highlight for the weekend it was the fact that we had one of our young men to obey the gospel and to be baptized into Christ, and he's actually one of a very special young man. He dates Hannah, my daughter. His name is Jake Stewart, and he came to me Saturday night and really surprised me. I wasn't ready. We had a Devo back at our condo, about 30 of us, and everybody went home, and it was about 10:45, and I remember that because the heated pool closed at 11 o'clock. I thought, we've got to make it.
Got to get in there.
But he got to get in there. That was one time I said, well, even if it's not open, I'm breaking in. I just have to deal with the consequences.
Absolutely.
But he asked me if I could baptize him, and we talked for a minute. And of course, he's been attending with Hannah for, I really don't know, over a year, maybe close to 2 years actually. And so I baptized him into Christ, and Saturday night about 2 to 11, because the guy was ready to close her down. But what a highlight of the weekend for us on the CYC weekend. So it was great. I guess y'all had a good experience too, Tom.
We did, and Mark, I want to piggyback that is just absolutely fantastic about Jake. That is, that deep down, of course, with our podcast, yes, we're encouraging others to stand big and tall in their faith, and the very first step in your Christian life is to obey the gospel and to become a member of the Lord's church, and for God to add you to His church, to His kingdom, and that's what this is all about. And man, that is exciting. But also, yeah, CYC, for those that don't know, and I know we talked about this a little bit last year, but I believe the reported attendance was roughly 13,000 people there at the LeConte Center in Pigeon Forge. 13,000 people. And if you take away, I don't know, Mark, what do you think, 3,000 adults? So we're still looking at 10,000 young people who are there, right, learning, worshiping, singing. And of course, for me, absolutely the highlight was Eric Lyons and Kyle Butt speaking. The two of them with Apologetics Press, I love, we talked about this, 1 or 2 episodes ago. I love the material that they put out, the resource that is, and they are just, they're so brilliant. It is the most humbling thing ever to listen to them speak, because I just am reminded about how intellectually inferior I am to both of them. They're geniuses, and they're of course very talented speakers. But anyway, great weekend, Mark. Great weekend.
It was. The only thing, Tom, that I've got to say is the fact that There are 13,000 people, most of them young people, as you said before. Every time I come back from CYC, I have some sort of sickness. And once again,
13,000 shoulder to shoulder, and breathing a lot. A lot of singing going on. A lot of.
Rachel and I were sitting there with our group, and people coming by coughing and sneezing. And I looked at her and I said, "If I come home sick this year, I'm not going back." I came home sick from CYC, I think the last 3 years. And I said, I'm not coming back. Well, my throat is sore, and guess what? I'm calling it the CYC crud. But it's okay. It's better than the last couple of years, which was the good old stomach bug. Ooh. So I can deal with this. So I'm not gonna say that I'm finished with CYC, but maybe I need to start taking vitamins before I go, to help out. But anyway, it was a good weekend. We're going to talk about a few restaurants here in a little bit that we ate at the end of the podcast today. But Tom, I've got a segment that I want to start with, and I don't know exactly what to call it. I guess it's Mark's World, because strange things, I guess, happen to Mark sometimes. Or you can call it a Believe It or Not segment. But here's what happened yesterday. And I've got a spiritual application, of course, with this. But I was down at the church building, and I was coming home for lunch, and it was right at 12 o'clock. I turned on a road and that I usually turn on, and it's John Sutton Road. And at the end of a driveway was a little dog. I didn't know exactly what kind, but it turns out it was a beagle. And he was walking around it was strange from a distance. But as I got closer, I noticed he had something on his head. And I went by and I looked at him, and it looked like a Walmart sack or a grocery bag that was on his head. And I thought, man, this isn't good. He was right out at the edge of the driveway, almost to get into the road. So I turned around and went back. There were several other people, older people, that were concerned as well. And I said, I'll see what I can do. They couldn't get out of their car. I said, I'll see what I can do. Well, I get out of my truck, and it's not a Walmart sack. It is a chocolate milk jug that is stuck on this dog's head. Yeah. And he's a little beagle, and he's trying to bark, and he's walking around. He can't see. And so I go to grab him, and he acts like he's wanting to bite me, which he can't because he's got a milk jug on his head.
Right.
And yeah. But then he tears out. He starts running into the woods. So I'm thinking, well, what am I going to do? So anyway, the person that lives there, he was outside, and I said, "Is this your dog?" He said, "No, but he's been walking around. I've called the police. They're not coming out, of course. I mean, they have bigger things to do than a dog with a milk jug on his head."
Right.
So I get some gloves on, and that are in my truck. I get some gloves on. I go into the woods, and every time I get close to him, he can't see me, but he knows that it's a big something coming after him. He starts barking, which is muffled, as you can imagine. Right. And he just runs away. But as he's running into trees and into thorn bushes because he can't see anything. He can't see where he's going. So anyway, I finally get close enough to him. I sneak up to him, if you can imagine this. I sneak up to him quietly.
Did anyone video this? I would love to. Okay. All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I sneak up on him, and I grab at that milk jug several times. I can't get it. Finally, I get close enough, and I grab the handle of the milk jug, and I cannot get it off of his head. I mean, I finally basically had to pick the milk jug up, and I'm shaking it, and it finally pops off, and he barks. I think he's going to bite me, but he sort of runs and looks at me. And I try to call him. He's got a collar on. I try to call him, but he runs off into the woods. But I felt like it was successful because he was already skinny. I don't know. It had been several days. It looks like that he had been walking around with this milk jug on his head.
Yeah.
And he wasn't going to make it much longer. He was going to get hit by a car, or he was going to starve to death. But I don't know. I've never seen anything like that. I think, Tom, and I mean, I hate to say this, but I really think that somebody did it on purpose. There's no way that there would be a perfect hole in the bottom of that milk jug, and there's no way that he could get his head stuck in there. I think somebody actually did that on purpose, which is terrible.
Really sad. But man, good deed done by you.
Right. Well, that's what I thought. Man, I can't go home and let this dog walk around like this. But here's the point. How many of us walk around aimlessly in life, without any direction, without any guidance, and when God tries to lead us, when He tries to point us in the right direction, we run from Him. We run from Him, and it's just like we're running around with our eyes covered with something on our head in this world from time to time, and especially if we're not letting God lead us. I got several passages that I want to read. Psalm 32, and I love this. David says this: I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will guide you with my eye. And then he says, do not be like the horse or like the mule, which have no understanding, which must be harnessed with bit and bridle, else they will not come near you. That's exactly like the dog. Don't be like the horse. Don't be like the mule. Don't be like the little beagle dog that has a milk jug on his head. But let God instruct us. Let Him guide us in the way that He would have us to go. Proverbs 16 and verse 9, a man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps. I love this illustration. I read this, Tom. I want to say one more thing, and I'll turn it over to you. I'm reading a book, Lead Like the Lord, Kirk Brothers. It's lessons in leadership. He's the president of Heritage Christian University, but he wrote in this book, and I was just recently reading this. One of his favorite stories was about a man that was driving through a small town, and as he drove through this town, he noticed that there were targets like bullseyes everywhere on tree trunks, on wooden park benches. There was a bullseye, and in the middle of that bullseye was an arrow. And this was all throughout the town, and he was amazed at this. And finally, he was so curious, he stopped his car, rolled his window down. A man was walking on the sidewalk, and he said, what an amazing archer you guys have in the town. He said, I can't believe what an amazing, archer you have. And the man sort of snickered, and he said, we don't have an amazing archer. We have an amazing artist. He said he randomly shoots arrows, and then he goes around and paints targets around the arrows where they hit. And sometimes, and his point in the book is this, sometimes that's exactly what we do. We wake up every day and we don't aim for anything. We just shoot those arrows out, and at the end of the day, we go and say, "Oh yeah, here's a bullseye. Here's the target, and I hit it." We need to wake up every day with purpose, with focus, and not just randomly going about our day, but we have a purpose for our day. And we have a target that we're actually trying to hit. And that target, of course, should be God's Word. It should be living like Jesus. And it shouldn't be walking around, Tom, with a milk jug on our head, aimlessly trying to find our way in this world. We should let God lead us and direct us and guide us.
Yep. That's fantastic. And that requires effort. It requires effort on our part
That's right.
to read and study and to know what God has in store for us as far as our attitude and our efforts towards fellow man and serving others the same way that Jesus did. And actually that kind of goes hand in hand with what I was going to share today on this episode. You know, we mentioned this, I think, a week ago, that I'm still in my chronological study guide of reading the Bible in a year. And here I am now in the book of Numbers. And there are, yeah, exactly. It is a challenging read, to say the least. But
Right.
but
Right.
what I love about it, especially here in chapter 4, really chapters 3 and 4, where Moses is basically describing for the sons of Aaron, and the responsibilities of Aaron and his sons as the priests, is you have these very, very descriptive and very specific responsibilities of those that are of the tribe of Levi. And so basically when it comes to them and their responsibilities with the tabernacle, and for the sons of Korath and the sons of Merari and the sons of Gershon and the sons, that have these responsibilities, whether it be, your job. Well, let's look for instance, in chapter 4, verse 31, for the sons of Merari, this is what they must carry is all their service for the tabernacle of meeting: the boards of the tabernacle, its bars, its pillars, its sockets, and the pillars around the court with their sockets, pegs, and cords, and all the furnishings and their service. And you shall assign to each man by name and items he must carry. Each of the different families they're within the tribe of Levi, they all have these very specific responsibilities as it relates to the tabernacle. Their job is to not go out and be warriors. Their job as the tribe of Levi is only to be concerned with the tabernacle. Very specific. Yeah. And I can't help but think that God has not changed in his attitude towards us, in that, hey, I've created you, and there are things that you can do, and there are things I expect you to do. And when we turn then to the New Testament, because of course we are under the new covenant through Christ, but in 1 Corinthians chapter 12, we're reminded of just how important each and every one of us is. In verse 12, for as the body is one and has many members, but all the members of that one body, being many, are one body, so also is Christ. And he goes on to say, basically, that of course, in the world, there are people that are going to say, you're not worth anything. Look what you don't do much of anything. But Paul, of course, is here saying quite the contrary. For in fact, the body is not one member, but many. This is verse 14. If the foot should say, because I'm not a hand, I'm not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? And if an ear should say, because I'm not an eye, I'm not of the body, is it therefore not of the body? If the whole body were an eye, where would be the hearing? If the whole were hearing, where would be the smelling? But now God has set the members, each one of them, in the body just as he pleased. And if they were all one member, where would the body be? But now indeed there are many members, yet one body. And if you continue there, basically the same concept of we have responsibilities, and we're all different. And just going back to the 12 tribes of Israel, they all had very specific responsibilities that are laid out there in the book of Numbers. Here's what you're supposed to be doing for God. And like I said, the fact that we are no longer under Old Testament worship, we're no longer under the law of Moses, but we still have the same God that we worship, and he has the same expectations that we are to follow him and that we're to be doers. And so I challenge our listeners, if you are, maybe you've just been a listener, maybe you attend worship services extremely in a very committed way, but you're not being a doer. Then let's find something you can do. There's something everyone can do in the Lord's church. We can all serve others in various ways, but don't just be a hearer, be a doer. And going back to your study of the book of James, be a doer. Don't just sit here and hear.
That's right. And that, like you said, that does go along exactly with the idea of the target and where the arrow is going to hit. I mean, we need to know what the target is, And we need to set a goal every single day. I'm going to go and I'm going to achieve that goal, and I'm going to do the things that, number one, that I've got to do in this life to survive, whether it's a job or whatever it may be, or school, whatever it may be. But I'm also going to do it for the glory of God. That's my real target. That's my real goal in life. Tom, in that same book, he quotes from Andy Stanley, and I want to read this. It's a small quote from his book, but it says this: "A clear vision, along with the courage to follow through, dramatically increases your chances of coming to the end of your life, looking back with a deep, abiding satisfaction and thinking, I did it, I succeeded, I finished well, my life counted. Without a clear vision, odds are you will come to the end of your life and wonder what you could have done and wonder what you should have done." We've got to have that clear vision, that sense of, I'm going to be a doer of the word, not just a hearer. I'm going to hit my target every single day. And that's our purpose, and that's our goal. And when we have that, when we have that vision and that goal, then we wake up every morning refreshed, renewed, knowing that, hey, I'm going to go out and stand big and tall in my faith, no matter what the day brings. I'm going to be obedient to the Lord. I'm going to do things for His glory. I'm going to pray to Him. I'm going to share the gospel. And when we get to the end of our day, we say, okay, I accomplished some things today. When we get to the end of our week and our month and our year and our lives, we can look back and say, I didn't live this life for me. I lived it for Him. And that's what it's all about.
That's right. That's right. Well, Mark, we're, of course, a little short on time. Let's do this. You and I had talked before we began recording about 3 different restaurants there in the Pigeon Forge, Sevierville, Gatlinburg area. Let's do this. You briefly talk about the one that you visited. I'll briefly talk about the one that I visited. And then that third one, we'll just leave that one alone. So I'll let you. Okay. I'll let you start off.
Well, we love to go to restaurants that sometimes we've never been to, and there was one in particular in Pigeon Forge. It's actually in Sevierville, right outside of Pigeon Forge, but it's called Holston's, and I've never heard of it. Somebody in our group knew about it. Somebody told them about it. It's off the beaten path. It takes about 10 or so minutes to get out there. You can go the back way. You don't have to get on the main drag there at Pigeon Forge, so you can sort of go the back way. But it is a wonderful restaurant. We had about, 15 to 18 people that went. It didn't take us long to get in, didn't take us long to get our food. The food was excellent. I got a smash burger. Other people got fish and steaks and just wonderful food, wonderful service. And if anybody is looking for a different restaurant, one that you've never been to, and one that, it's not going to take an hour to wait to get your seat, Holston's in Sevierville, I would highly recommend, Tom.
I've never been there, but I'm looking forward to it. As we were talking this morning before we began recording, I looked it up on Google Maps, and it looks fantastic. So looking forward to going there. Mark, I think it's well documented that I'm not a fan of chain restaurants. And right. So mine, this is one that we've only eaten at probably 3 or 4 times, and only in the last maybe 2 years. So for a long time, I didn't even know it existed. But it's in Gatlinburg, right as you're almost to the end of Gatlinburg, about to go into the national park. It's called the Peddler Steakhouse, the Peddler. And now I'm gonna preface this by saying a couple of things. Number one, they're pretty proud of their food, so we don't go there very often. And but it's right. It checks some of the boxes that you and I find very important. Number one, you sit down and they take your drink order very quickly, and then they basically say, "Hey, go to the salad bar," and then when you get back, then we'll take your order. So I mean, there is no downtime. You sit down, you get your drink order, and then you go to the salad bar. Great salad bar, by the way. And then you come back to your table, and there's bread waiting on you. And it's really good bread. Yeah. So Mark, it checks the boxes. You get something to eat pre-meal there. But anyway, then they come around with a big cart that has actually a big strip loin and a ribeye rib roast. And they basically say, if you would like a New York strip or ribeye, we'll cut it from this right here. Which I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure we're fans of that. Like, why are you pushing around a cart that has this meat that everybody can breathe on?
I can see that.
And a few people are touching. But anyway, so. Let me say this: it's a great restaurant. We've only tried a few different dishes there, but everything we've had is really good. And so anyway, good recommendation from us about a good non-franchise, non-chain restaurant. Really good food there in Gatlinburg. So,
Tom, let me close with this. Luke 13:29, Jesus says this. They will come from the east and the west, from the north and the south, and sit down in the kingdom of God. Matthew's account says with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I think about those 13,000 people that were at CYC this past weekend. We all sat down with them. We all sang together. Can you imagine when all the Christians and all the saints are going to be called from the four corners of the earth? They're going to come from everywhere, and we're going to sit down at the table with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, with all the saved that have gone before, that will come after. And what a feast that's going to be. What a day that's going to be. And that's what we're doing all of this for, Tom. That's what it's all about. And we encourage everybody that's listening to find that goal, to aim for perfection. We're not going to hit it every time, but we need to aim for perfection in Christ Jesus and live like He lived, and try our best to be faithful and big and tall in our faith.
Well said, my friend. I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. If you're enjoying the podcast and you are feeling encouraged to stand big and tall in your faith, please share it. Please share it with your friends, your acquaintances, maybe some people at work, or those that need some encouragement. But we appreciate each and every one of y'all. We hope y'all have a great week.
If you have enjoyed today's episode of The Big and Tall Show, please tell your friends and make it easy by sharing the link to our show with them. If you haven't subscribed, this is the time to do just that. And on behalf of Tom and Mark, thank you for listening.